So, it's this movie with such a title. Um, no, yeah, I did hesitate to watch it due to the title and the setting. It's mainly, mostly at any rate, a lot of the time at least. It's a problematic title, yes, and the setting, and it could have really been set somewhere else. Um, so yeah, it was poorly received, but so I mean, I wonder. I mean, whether if it was set somewhere else and if it had a different title, whether it would have been received better. Because the title is a deterrent. I have no idea why anyone would call a rom-com this, a rom-com of all things. And when this was involved, it's not comedy. But everything else, this is the problem with this, right? Most other things, like when the psychiatrist is supposed to be involved. And by the way, I don't think psychiatrists do that. I think that those would be psychologists, but never mind. Yeah, everything else was I mean, above average in my opinion. You know, it was interesting and a bit funny, just a bit. But in comparison to most other rom-coms, now this was made in the early '90s. So I don't know if it's just the latter rom-coms that are mostly really shallow and stereotypical and samey, but they are. In comparison, this wasn't. This had something else. If only most rom-coms have, what's called magical realism, would be interesting, but most do not. So in terms of what a rom-com is, this was okay. But of course, like many movies do, they ruin them. I don't know why. I don't know how anyone thought of putting setting this, in such a place. It's not either romantic or comedic at all, right? And I don't associate, soft sort of music to such a place. It's a problem. The setting is the problem, and it can never be a really good rom-com because of the setting. It just cannot, by default, it just doesn't. I mean, it's disgusting, Then again, modern rom-coms seem to think that, vomit is somehow comedic. At least this one didn't have that. But it had this other thing, that somehow someone thought was comedic. Presumably, they thought it was comedic, not romantic. I have no idea how in a century it could be romantic. But, yeah, that's the problem with this title. At any rate, it's a problem. But otherwise, it was interesting. The fact that the so-called psychiatrist or psychologist really was unraveling himself before everyone's eyes, and then how that patient at the end just switched sides and somehow assumed himself the role, and the actual it was interesting, shall we say, how it was developed and such, and it was, in my opinion, an above average rom-com, considering, I'm usually really bored of most rom-coms. This didn't seem to be that, but it was disgusting, and and it's not, it's strange sort of, you don't normally, the title and the setting are the worst things about it. Definitely, it's a problem. Yes, ultimately, yeah, whatever. I mean, I still don't think it's like the best movie ever or anything. But as a rom-com, judging based on all the other rom-coms I've seen, it is slightly above average, slightly. average being like 5 or from 10 or such, slightly above, and yeah, it could never be anything anymore because of the title and the setting. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, so I don't think it's modern rom-coms could use some clairvoyance, shall we say, not for the other thing, the title. Nope, not that. That's just idiotic. I don't know who, just who. At least nobody was ever inspired by it in modern rom-coms. They seem to think that vomit is funny, but at least not that, not the other thing. So yeah, I don't know why some movies just need to ruin it. Like I say in other movies, some movies have something, even if the rest of the movie is fine, like the other, I think it was Spanish movie, um, Four Cows or whatever it was called. It was mostly fine except for one person who ruined it. I, I don't know why these things happen. It's like there is some movies install a person whose sole job is to ruin the movie. Like why? Now, honestly, I've never seen a worse title than this. At least that one had a good title. But this is a bad title for a rom-com. Very bad title. As I said, I've never, didn't watch it, but I said, I thought, why not? And the movie itself wasn't as bad as the title. The setting is still pretty bad, as I said. Setting is bad, but it's only there for like 1/4 of the movie or such, So it's not too bad, the rest of the movie is either in the streets or in other people's houses. Not, that's the problem. Otherwise, though, yeah, I mean, it could be worse as far as content goes, based on such a title. Um, yeah. Uh, I've no idea how it relates to Ghost, by the way, which apparently Demi Moore did just before this one. I haven't seen it yet, so if it has anything to do with it, by all means. But yeah, this one though, yeah, it's problematic title, problematic setting, but the content isn't as problematic, I think, in my opinion. Otherwise, though, as rom-coms go, though, it's above average based on the many very stale rom-coms that are produced mostly nowadays. Very very stale. That I also comment on. This is slightly better than slightly, ever so slightly.